Phillip Schofield has exposed Holly Willoughby as one of the three S's of showbiz, but the aggrieved former This Morning presenter is not done yet. He has declared war, and appears to be determined to bring down those he believes are responsible for his downfall. With Holly Willoughby now firmly in his line of sight, a barrage of disparaging press about her has been unleashed all at once, and was no doubt perfectly timed by Team Schofield, for maximum effect in order to annihilate his former bestie amidst his big TV comeback on Cast Away, branding Holly Willoughby the witch who brought him down. Phillip Schofield is a man on a mission. That mission is to destroy the person who turned her back on him when he needed her the most. Some might say, he brought it all on himself following his admission to lying about an affair with a young runner. But let's be honest, many feel that Holly Willoughby threw him under the bus, and the tide could just be turning, with the general public quickly becoming sick of the sight of Holly, who seems to bag every presenting gig going. As the brand-obsessed me, look at me, the queen of primetime builds her empire alongside her TV producer husband Dan Baldwin. A source said, Holly Willoughby is known as the witch amongst Phillip Schofield's inner circle. They also claim that he uses the hatted hag emoji to discuss Holly if her name ever crops up. They added, he dislikes Holly so much now he calls her the witch when talking about her, and sends the emoji to his mates if she comes up. In recent revelations, Phillip accused Holly of not coming to his aid as his career was left in tatters, telling her over WhatsApp, "You brought me down." The source added, he was furious and still is. Schofield blamed her for not publicly backing him, amid reports they had fallen out in the aftermath of his brother's court case in May 2023. The former presenter had asked Holly for a show of support or a picture of them together, but his request was refused. A pal of Phillip said that he knew his future on the program was doomed the minute Holly didn't show support for him. He feels it was a simple gesture that might have saved his job, and her refusal to do so effectively finished him off. Holly is said to have replied that she was in the dark about what was going on. The friend added, but Schofield was so upset that he later messaged two senior ITV bosses to complain about her. Phil said he felt as if Holly and a This Morning boss had staged a very well-constructed coup as his TV career imploded, and Phil's friends also revealed the three S's as Holly Willoughby and his old ITV bosses Martin Frizzell and Emma Gormley. A pal said, Phil believes Holly, Martin and Emma were the reason he was booted from ITV, and he thinks they treated him unfairly. Also, in new reports, friends of Phillip Schofield have revealed who he really blames for the Q-Gate scandal. Wow. It's all coming out now, isn't it? Allegedly, the former TV host begged his old ITV boss Martin Frizzell not to send him and Holly Willoughby to view the Queen's coffin for This Morning. What followed, however, was a publicity nightmare, which many believe was the beginning of the end for the once much-loved duo. In September 2022, Phillip and Holly sparked national backlash for apparently jumping the queue to see the late monarch lying in state at Westminster Hall. However, it's been revealed that Phillip urged his boss Martin Frizzell to scrap the segment as he feared it would set the wrong tone. Phil reportedly pleaded that the pair remain outside and dubbed the plan ill-conceived. A friend said, Phil didn't even want to go to Westminster. He foresaw it would backfire, and it did. He wanted to watch the procession from the bottom of his drive at home. They never actually jumped the queue, and when they had to read a statement explaining that, it was even more galling for Phil because Holly was given the most lines. Phil predicted it would be perceived badly, and he was right. And the revelations don't end there. Yes, there's more, and it gets even better. Phillip Schofield's true feelings towards his archenemy Eamon Holmes have also been sensationally revealed. Grab the popcorn, you're in for a treat. On Cast Away, the former ITV presenter said people threw me under a bus, plural, in cryptic confessions, with many mistakenly assuming the accusation was aimed solely at Holly Willoughby. But shockingly, he was also referring to his former This Morning colleague Eamon Holmes, who defiantly hit back on GB News, declaring, well, if I'm one of the people who threw him under the bus, I am very proud to have done it. The pair have been embroiled in a bitter rivalry since Eamon and his now estranged wife Ruth Langsford quit This Morning after 15 years in 2021. But interestingly, Holly Willoughby is also said to have ill feelings towards Eamon, most notably from when they went on air together to interview Phil when he came out as gay in 2020. A pal said, Phil knows Eamon hates him, and says it's because he never texted him to say he was sorry to see him leaving. He thinks Eamon is petty and bitter, and took great delight in being involved in Phil coming out. Phil recalled how Eamon made jokes about Phil being gay. The friend continued, "He also told us Holly was furious with Eamon that day because he told her that he would take over the interview if she became too emotional." Phil said he'd never seen Holly so angry. Fast forward to this year, and just weeks after the announcement of the end of his 14-year marriage to Ruth Langsford, Eamon Holmes' close friendship with Katie Alexander was revealed. Phil is said to have found it humorous when Eamon's marriage woes hit the headlines after previously mocking him on his GB News show. "Sorry, give us a minute, we just choked on our popcorn," a friend added. Phil heard about Eamon having a phone-in on GB News to get people to call in if they'd had an affair with Phil. Not a single person rang in apparently. And all of these sensational revelations were kept from airing on Castaway because they were viewed as too explosive, according to Phillip Schofield's close friends. No wonder Phil is eager to spill the beans now he's back home. It seems that Channel 5 has protected itself by heavily editing all the juicy tidbits out of the show, most likely to Philip's dismay. Also, we wonder who these close pals of his are. Could they be fellow celebrities or his PR daughter Molly? The mind truly boggles, doesn't it? On the 3-part series Castaway, Phil said, "I was fired for the bad publicity, for someone else's crime." And his anger is clear in messages allegedly seen by the Sun newspaper between Phil and ITV top boss Kevin Lygo following his exit. A friend said, Phil told Kevin in no uncertain terms that he believed Holly and Martin wanted him gone. He texted Kevin and told him he believed his sacking was an organized coup. One pal added, "As for Emma, Phil believes she treated him unfairly." Phil now believes that Holly started to distance herself from him for the sake of her brand. Holly has never publicly spoken about Timothy's crimes, but in messages seen after his arrest, Holly spoke with Phil about him. In one, she told him of her shock and that it was hard to believe. The rift between them then spiraled, with Phil later admitting he had lied to Holly about his affair with a colleague. Pal said Phil was hurt when Holly cut him off, especially after the help he had given her with work. They said, "He feels so betrayed by Holly still. As far as he's concerned, he made her career at This Morning. And he got her the I'm a Celebrity hosting job by texting his best pal Deck and saying, 'Holly would be perfect for this,'" the friend continued. Once, Holly's husband Dan Baldwin even confronted him about giving Holly more airtime on This Morning, which naturally Phil did. He agreed, formally, to let her have a question, and then him, even if she then missed a good follow-up. When he once broke the rule and chipped in, she rolled her eye. That bit was reported at the time, as viewers noticed. Wow. That statement really does showcase the kind of power Holly Willoughby's producer husband has, in our opinion. The friend continued, in Phil's eyes, Holly repaid his kindness by knifing him. He lied to her and apologized, but she dropped him, despite everything they had been through. He'll never get over what he feels is a betrayal. Phil is still close pals with a number of big ITV names, including I'm a Celebrity host Deck. A friend said, even people like Dr. Ranj reached out. He was desperate to assure Phil he didn't mean him when he was talking about toxicity on This Morning. He knows who his real friends are. Phil also hails his wife Steph and daughters Molly and Ruby as his rocks. So what's next for Phillip Schofield, after he's finished sniping at his enemies? Well, despite claims that viewing figures were not as high as expected, Castaway was watched by more than 1 million people each night. And pals claim Burning Bright Productions, who made the show, have been discussing making future documentaries with Phil. A source said, "It is something Phil is very open to, but he wants to take time to consider his options." And there we have it. So much for him saying he was done with TV. It looks like we haven't seen the last of Phillip Schofield, just yet. As suspected, he'll be back on our screens faster than a rat up a drainpipe, if the public will have him. Could the fire in Schofield's belly, together with his campaign of revenge on his former This Morning co-host Holly Willoughby, gain him a few more supporters? Possibly. But we have a feeling that his former bestie will do everything in her power to turn things in her favor. Let battle commence. Like and subscribe for more journeys through the blinker hole. For entertainment purposes only.